like a ton of Marvel news and a little bit of DC news. So while this is sci-fi fantasy news roundup, it's gonna seem a little heavy towards the Marvel side. I'm sorry. First off, if you've been worried about the fate of Deadpool now that Disney owns him and, you know, they're not so much on the R-rated side, they, I guess, aren't as crude as Deadpool is, so some of us were worried that Disney would try to PG-fy him. Well, apparently there are no worries, and Deadpool will be in the MCU. So Wernick, one of the screenwriters for his movie, said they're waiting to hear what Disney wants to be done, sharing, "We're just waiting for the word from on high. There's a lot to be sorted out, like how Deadpool fits into the Marvel Universe with the other characters and into the release schedule of the MCU. Then it's, do the X-Men get in there at some point? Fantastic Four? There's a lot to be sorted out, and I think we're all getting a much-needed rest from Deadpool. Ryan and us and everybody." Which I agree with. I have been going off a little bit on Harley lately, despite owning a lot of her merchandise. But that's because I'm a huge Batman fan, where I need breaks from characters sometimes, instead of them being shoved in your face nonstop. Although I feel like they haven't shoved the Deadpool movies in our face too much. They've been pretty well spaced apart. Well, at least the two films. Although, wasn't there some Christmas special or something? I don't remember. I just remember Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. I don't know. Maybe I've... Oh my god, is this Alzheimer's? I have dementia? Did I just make up a Christmas special with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool? Don't let me know in the comment section down below. Just let me live in a world where I don't have a quickly deteriorating mind. The other writer for Deadpool shared that Deadpool will return and be in the MCU though, saying, "The promise is that there will be more Deadpool. He will live in the R-rated universe that we've created, and hopefully we'll be allowed to play a little bit in the MCU sandbox as well and incorporate him into that. We've just got to land on the right idea, and once we do, I think we'll be off to the races. We wake up thinking about Deadpool, and we go to sleep thinking about Deadpool, so there will be another Deadpool, and we just have to make it the right way." So I guess that isn't 100% confirmation that he will be in the main MCU universe, but I, for one, am really all about Deadpool interacting with the heroes in the MCU because he is so radically different. I would love Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool to interact, though I understand Sony has a bit to say about that, but he's still in the MCU, so I don't know. I really like the dynamic between Spider-Man and Deadpool in the comics, and I think in the MCU, they could make it just as hilarious. Funny enough, they actually did talk about that, having Deadpool interact with characters in the MCU, and specifically, they wanted Deadpool to interact with Chris Evans' Captain America. So they said on that, "Well, I always wanted it to be Captain America, Chris Evans as Captain America. We thought there's no better straight foil for Deadpool because Deadpool's all about foils. Usually it's the peripheral characters who are wacky and the leads are more sane. Deadpool's so wacky, you have to surround him with more sane people. Colossus is a great example, a stern kind of by-the-book guy. Captain America, to me, it would have been the perfect character. Now, of course, Chris is not going to do that anymore, so we'll have to sort that out. But that was always my dream. Spider-Man can also be super fun because he's a young guy who Deadpool could maybe mentor or something in a mad way. The long story short is the Marvel Universe is a very rich, deep universe. With Deadpool, we were confined a little bit with certain villains, certain possible partners, but in the MCU, it's going to blow up, and it's just a question about finding the perfect foils." Honestly, now that they say that, Chris Evans, Captain America, would have been perfect for interacting with this version of Deadpool. Well, Deadpool in general, actually, but we're talking about the MCU. Interestingly, when talking about Deadpool 3, and I know I've been on Deadpool quite a bit, I'm gonna switch to other sci-fi fantasy news. I swear, this just was really interesting to me. But anyways, before Disney took over Deadpool and Fox, they had no idea what they were gonna do for Deadpool 3. So in that they said, "We never had a pitch. We never got that far. I think it was just because we were still in post-Deadpool 2 exhaustion, plus the merger was really, It was announced at a certain time, but it had been in the works for almost a year before it was announced, and we all knew it. So there was just no point, really. Knowing that there was going to be a regime change was getting too far down a path, and we all realized that. Okay, I'm done with Deadpool now, but I would love to hear your thoughts on, do you want to see Deadpool interact with the MCU characters we already have, and who would you most want to see Deadpool interact with? Alright, let's move on to Kit Harington, who plays Black Knight in The Eternals, coming out November 2020, and he shared he's really excited to be part of the MCU, sharing, "Really what I'm excited about is getting involved in a new world, in a new universe. Coming here, I can just see how passionate people are about this world. I'm just thrilled. It's a whole new chapter and a whole new character to start thinking about, and one that, without saying too much on the surface, can look a little bit like Jon Snow. But actually, I think there's a lot to be done that's different." Also, he's really excited to be reunited with Richard Madden, which is just so adorable. Kid has seemed so happy lately, and I'm excited for him because I know he went through a rough patch after the final season of Game of Thrones. Ooh, let's move on to Ruben, who was the director for Venom, and he said that Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom will have an interaction together at some point, which I think we all knew was coming, but it's nice to hear someone confirm that. So he said, "That's where it's all going to lead, and that's the exciting thing, because we changed the origin of Venom. In the comics, he evolved from Spider-Man, but because of the Marvel-Sony thing, we weren't able to do that. And so the thing I think it's building towards, and will be exciting to see, is when they actually do confront each other." So I guess that could be really exciting, but if I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know this is probably terrible, I haven't seen the Venom movie yet. It looked really bad, so I just never went and saw it. So that's kind of shame on me, but apparently it was really good, even though critics kind of went crazy on it, so I'm going to watch it soon. Let's move on to Martin Scorsese, who, you remember how he said Marvel, the MCU, isn't cinema, and then a bunch of actors and directors in the MCU came out and were like, no, it actually is. Well, Martin has doubled down on his opinion, and this is the newest addition to that. So Martin said, "We shouldn't be invaded by it. We need cinemas to step up and show films that are narrative films." Listen, that guy is very stuck in his ways, as many older people are, and you're not going to change his mind. That's his opinion, so instead of getting riled up by this, just let it go. Just because he doesn't like the MCU or consider the movies cinema doesn't mean it isn't. Like, everyone has their own opinions, and someone liking or disliking something you like doesn't validate that or invalidate that. So, stick what brings you joy. You're not a fucking lemming. You know what you like, so fucking enjoy it. Ooh, and on the best news ever, the 90s X-Men animated series is coming to Disney Plus at its launch this November 12th. I have so many memories of this series, and I was already going to get Disney Plus because, you know, Star Wars. But this makes me even more excited. Lastly, on Marvel news, Elizabeth Olsen talked about WandaVision, which is a TV series that also comes out on Disney Plus, but in 2021. With WandaVision, I'm just so excited for fans, because if they know anything about the Scarlet Witch in the comics, I think this show will just get them so excited. This show will explore why she's known as Scarlet Witch, and how she is Scarlet Witch, as opposed to Wanda. We've always referred to her as Wanda in our films. Honestly, I wasn't really excited for WandaVision at all, but then once I saw the promotional artwork for it, and then they talked a little bit about what to expect, I'm gonna watch it. Marvel, you get me again. Okay, in DC news, hey, we're to the DC news, and there's only one little bit of news. So Robert Pattinson is playing Batman in The Batman, and recently we were told that the Catwoman, Selena Kyle, is going to be played by Zoe Kravitz. Now I completely understand why Batman just had to keep chasing down that pussy. Oh, also Kit Harington would be down for playing Snape, even though he says he's a Gryffindor, and he also says that Jon Snow is a Hufflepuff, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Okay, there's some sci-fi fantasy news. I have a Game of Thrones news video, a Witcher news video, and a bunch of other sci-fi fantasy history lore videos coming out. So, like, subscribe, and come back for more videos.